1, 2. not having a heart attack on that way, but like every so often I'm like,
Feel better. This is what place will do to you.
the doctor said this thing, 90%, 80% of the guys who come in here with back problems, we never figure out why.
Right? Maybe you should see a different
I
doctor.
said, you're my doctor. Like, okay, give me a second. Folks, Shabbat Shalom, and welcome to TBS, to Kabbalat Shabbat, which is definitely one of my highlights when Cantor Barnoi leads. When Sandy leads too is okay, but certainly when Cantor Barnoi leads. So Kabbalat Shabbat is something that was started or accelerated by the Kabbalists in Tzfat a few hundred years ago. And so as we all listen along to Cantor Barnoi and sing along with him, try to bring all the weak, hard work, hard thoughts, busyness, try to breathe in a little bit and let that all go out of your souls and your bodies and your minds. And we can all begin Kabbalat Shabbat with the beautiful melodies and singing of Cantor Barnoi in the Siddur on page 14.
Yedid nefesh avarachaman meshocha v'dach eretzonach yarutza v'dach emo hayal yishtachave el mul adarach yerav lo yedidutach minofetzu v'choletam hadur naheziva olam nafshi cholat avatach ana elena refanala beharot lach noasivach al titchazek v'titrape v'haita lach shivchar olam Vatikemu rachamecha v'chusna al beno avach ki sekama nichsaf liror betiferet ozach ana elim machmad libi chushana ve'alti talam higaleina ufros chaviv alai etzukat shelomach Ta'ir eretz mikevodach nagi v'nismecha bach ma'erao v'kiva moer v'choneni kimei olam la 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 Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena l'Adonai. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena l'Adonai. Nariyan, nariyan letzuri sheno, nekar mafana betodah. Nariyan, nariyan letzuri sheno, bizmirot nariyan lo. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena l'Adonai. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena l'Adonai. Let's turn to page 16, 4 lines from the bottom. Yismechu hashamayim, Yismechu hashamayim, Yismechu hashamayim, v'tagel haaretz. Yismechu hashamayim, Yismechu hashamayim, Yismechu hashamayim, v'tagel haaretz. Yiramayam, 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 Omlo, Yiramayam, 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 Omelo. Let us turn to page 18. Shiru l'Adonai shir chadash, ki nifela otasa, Oshia lo yemino, uzro hakodesho. Hodi Adonai Yeshuato, le'enei hagoyim gilat tzidkato, zachar chesdo ve'emunato, levet Yisrael ra'u kol afsei haaretz et Yeshua Eloheinu, Hariyul Adonai kol haaretz, pitzcho v'raninu v'zameru, zamru l'Adonai bechinor, bechinor v'kol zimra, b'chatzotzrot v'kol shofar, Hariyu lifnei hamelech Adonai, Yiramayam melot tevel v'yoshiva, neharot imcha uchaf, yachad arim yeraninu, lifnei Adonai kiva, kiva nishbot haaretz, yishbot tevel betzedek, ve'yamim b'meisharim, lai lai ra 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 lai lai ra 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 lai lai ra 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 lai lai ra ra Page 19 at the bottom. Romimbu Adonai Eloheinu Veishtachavu lehar kodsho. Romimbu Adonai Eloheinu Veishtachavu lehar kodsho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu Romimbu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu Romimbu Adonai Eloheinu veishtachavu lehare kodesho. Romimbu Adonai Eloheinu veishtachavu lehare kodesho. Page 21. לחדותי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לחדותי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לחדותי דחה דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. שמור וזכור בדיבורך, השמיענו אל המיוחד, אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, לשם ולתפארת ולתהילה. לך דודי, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי היא מקור הברכה, בראש מקדם נסוכה, סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה. לך דודי, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. מקדש מלך עיר מלוכה, קומי צאי מתוך ההפכה, רב לך שבט בימי קבחה, והוא יחמול עלייך חמלה. לך דודי, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. היתנה ערים מעפר קומי, לבשי בגדי תפארתך עמי, על יד בן ישי בית הלחמי, קורבן נפשי גאלה. לך דודי, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. התעוררי, התעוררי, כי באורך קומי אורי, אורי אורי שיר דברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה. לך דודי, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. Page 22, different melody. לא תבושי ולא תקנמי, מה תשתוכחי ומה תהמי, בכי יחסו אני ימי ונבנתה, עיר על קהילה לך דודי, לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. והיולים שיסה שעושייך ורחקו כל מבלייך, יסיס עלייך אלייך, כמסוס חתן חתן על כלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. ימינהו שמאל תפרוצי ביד אדוני, תריצי על יד איש, ונפרצי ונשמחה, ונגילה לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. We rise and we turn towards our doorway, and we imagine in our minds that Shabbat comes in like a beautiful bride. Boi v'shalom ateret bala gam besimcha, ovetzolatoch emunei, am segula boi chala lecha dodi, likirat kala, penei Shabbat nekabla, lai la lai 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 la la May be seated. Page 23. Moshe Yom Shabbat. Ori novom beseva de sheni venanani mihu leagir ki ashar Adonai suri v'lavlat abo Adonai marach ke Yehud lavesh. עדותיך נבנו מאור לביתך נאווה קודש אדוני לאורך ימים.
Kaddish Yatom, Warner's Kaddish, page 24. Yitgadal v'yikadash shemei rabbah.
Amen.
B'yalma zivrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei. B'chayechon u'b'yomechon u'b'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael b'gala u'b'zman kari v'imru Amen. Yehi shmei rabbah mevorach le'olam olmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitrumam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yithaleh v'yithalal shmei d'kudasha b'rechu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata Tush bechata v'nechmata da'amiran b'yalma v'imru Amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen.
Amen.
May their memories be for blessing. So often at this time, Rabbi Rosenthal, I would teach a little Torah. I'm going to do that a little bit later after davening. So we will continue with Mariv on page 28. Those of you who can, please rise for Baruch Hu, page 28. Baruch Hanam Baruch Le'olam Va'ed. Please be seated.
ומביא יום ומביא לילה, ומבדיל ביום ולילה אדוני צבאות שמו. אלה חי וקיים, תמיד מלך עלינו לעולם ועד, ברוך אתה אדוני, המרי והרבים. ואהבתך אל תשים ממנו לעולמים, ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל, שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד. Adonai Elohechem Emet. Page 32. ומלכותו ברצון קיבלו עליהם משה ובני ישראל הכנו שירה בשמחה רבה ויאמרו כולם מי כמוך באלים אדוני מי כמוך נדר בקודש נורא תהילות אוסף אלה מלכות חרב עניך בוקיים לפני משה זה עניינו ואמרו אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד ונאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל. ושמור צאתנו ואהינו לחיים ולשלום יעתה וירונם ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך ברוך אתה אדוני הפורס סוכת שלום עלינו ועל כל עמו ישראל ועל ירושלים ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם ויום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש יגדל ויתקדש שם רבה בעלמא דברה חירותה וימליך מלכותה בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל בגלה בגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו
אמן.
יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעלם ולעלמי עולמיה יתברך יברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שם לקודשה בריחו לעילם ינקו ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה תמירן ביעלמה ואמרו
Please rise if you're able. Amidah begins on page 35 through page 38.
עושה שלום במרומיו, ויעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל, ואמרו אמן.
We continue on page 47.
ויכולו השמיים ויארץ וכל צבאם, ויכל אלוהים יום השביעי, מלאכתו אשר עשה, וישבות ביום השביעי מכל מלאכתו אשר עשה. ויברך אלוהים את יום השביעי, ויקדש אותו, כי בו שבת מכל מלאכתו אשר ברא אלוהים לעשות. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו, אלוהי אברהם, אלוהי יצחק ואלוהי יעקב, אלוהי שרה, אלוהי רבקה, אלוהי רחל ואלוהי לאה, האל הגדול הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון קונה שמיים וארץ, מגן אבות בדברו, מחיה מתים במאמרו, האל הקדוש אין כמוהו, המניח לימו ביום שבת קודשו, כי בם רצה להניח להם, כי בם רצה להניח להם, לפניו נעבוד ביראה ופחד, ונודה לשמו בכל יום תמיד מיום הברכות. אל ההודעות אדון אדון השלום, מקדש השבת ומברך שביעי, ומניח בקדושה לעמדו שני עונג, זכר למעשה בראשית.
We read in English on the top of page 48. Our God and God of our ancestors, find favor in our Shabbat rest. Instill in us the holiness of your mitzvot, and let your Torah be our portion. Fill our lives with your goodness, and gladden us with your triumph. Cleanse our hearts so that we might serve you faithfully, lovingly and willingly. Adonai, our God, grant that we inherit your holy Shabbat, so that the people Israel, who hallow your name, will always find rest on this day. Praised are you, Adonai, who hallows Shabbat.
ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת, יגדל ויקדש מרפא, וילמד דברה חירותי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון ובמכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, ועגלה בזמן קריב אמרו אמן, יש מרבה מבורך, לעלם עולם מעולמיה, יתברך, יברך וישתבח וירפא ויתרומם ויתנשא, וירהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל, שמדי קודשה בריחו, לעילם נגו ברכתה ושרדה, שברכתה ורחמתה, דמירם ביעלמה ואמרו אמן.
אמן.
יקבל את צלותינו ואותנו כל ישראל, קדם אבותינו ושמיה ואמרו אמן. יהי שלום רב משמיה וחיים עלינו וכל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומה ויעשה שלום עלינו. ועל כל ישראל ויאמרו אמן.
Kiddush on page 49.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם בורא פרי הגפן. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר קידשנו במצוותיו ורצה בנו, ושבת קודשו באהבה וברצון הנחילנו, זיכרון למעשה בראשית, כי הוא יום תחילה למקראי קודש, זכר יציאת מצרים. גיבנו בחרת ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים, ושבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת.
So those of you who are regular Friday night folk, I miss Mikey right now, guys. Aleinu, page 51.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה בראשית שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שמנו כהם. רעינו ככל המונם ואנחנו קוראים המשתחווים לפני מלך מלכי המלאכים הקדוש ברוך הוא שהוא לשומע יסוד הארץ. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
Please be seated. Mourners can stay standing for Kaddish Yatom, Mourners Kaddish on page 52. And we recall with affection and great love members of the TBS community whose yurtzeit we observe tonight, the 28th of Sivan. Morris Bayer, Isidore Kirstein, Elizabeth Sayburn, Franklin Weiss, Samuel Feldman, and Samuel Fox. May their memories be for a blessing. Kaddish Yatom, page 52. Yitkadal v'yikadash Shemei Rabbah, B'yalma zivrach hirutei, v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon u'vyomechon u'b'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael, b'agala u'b'zman kari v'yimru amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah mevorach le'olam omei amaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitrumam v'yitnasei, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal Shmei d'kudusha brichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, Tush b'chata v'nechamata da'amiran b'yalma v'imru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav hu yaseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. So, should we sing Yigdal now or later? Later. Okay, excellent. So we will not sing Yigdal now. We are now going to do our installation of our new officers and saying goodbye to our previous officers and leadership. I just want to share a few words of Torah with you. And it's very opportune that tonight is the time that you start this transition and thinking about what the next steps and the next chapter of life here under new leadership, both the volunteer leadership as well as rabbinic leadership, all starting at a new time, together to bring TBS even to greater heights than it is right now. So in the Torah portion, we read the story of the 12 scouts. I know many of us were brought up with calling them 12 spies. That is a misnomer. Modern day scholarship says that's just wrong, so let's throw that out and think of them as scouts, scouting out the land for our ancestors, for Bnei Israel, to see, like, could we really get there? Got out of Egypt, in the middle of a desert, wandering around, can we conquer this land and assume control over it? Clearly, you all know the story. 10 say no, 2 say yes. Keep in mind, majorities are not always correct here, guys, and certainly not in this story. And listening to the two, our ancestors decide to move on with the conquest of Eretz Yisrael, and is still indeed our homeland very much today. So in a similar way, you as members of the shul, many of you as leaders here at TBS, past, present, and future, are scouting out what life's going to be like next week, next month, next year. There's a little bit of an unknown, new rabbi, new president, but I hope that all of you have the confidence, like the two scouts who said, we can do it. You have the confidence in your leadership that it will be a fruitful and amazing next chapter here at TBS, just like it was for the scouts that we will read about in tomorrow's Torah portion. I'm going to be speaking a little more about that tomorrow. You're welcome to join us at services. Will begin at 9:15 in the morning with Kiddush following, and we now go into our installation. Shabbat Shalom.
It's hard to believe. It's 47 years, I think, Rose, that we were at this position. I want to recognize those Board of Trustee members whose term have been completed. We thank you for your service and dedication to Temple Beth Sholom. Please stand when I call your name. Susan Brown, Jess Drapkin, Richard Feldstein, Mark Fishman, Pearl Hallegua, Steve Kantorowitz, Nadine Keston, Betsy Landsman, Talia Letterman, Gil Lipper, Phyllis Pellman, Avi Simkai, Ellen Wark, Jared Wasserman. You may be seated. In addition, I want to thank and recognize those officers who were leaving the Executive Board. Please stand as we recite your names. The VP of Education, Carrie Gordon. Lou Bartel, VP of Administration. And the VP of Finance, Louis Naviaski. Thank you for your time and dedication to Temple Beth Sholom. I'm pleased to have the honor of installing the new trustees of the synagogue and then the officers of the congregation. Please stand at your seats as I call your name. The following trustees will be commencing the third year of their terms. Cindy Feldman, Limor Mann, Morty Shaha, Madeline Yossazadeh, Farrah Forrest, Michael Margulies, Robin Simonson, Mark Magid, Howard Newman, Edward Wagner. The following trustees will be commencing the second year of their terms. Boaz Ben Moshe, Ronit Hakimi, Dana Moskowitz, Rose Warshawski, Janet Faber Cooperman, Jeffrey Horowitz, Stephen Palter, Billy Goldstein, Robin Merker, and David Pollock. And now for the trustees being installed this evening for a 3-year term. Louis Bartel, Jill D., Brian Collin, Matthew Weinberg, Elaine Ben-Levy, Michael Gilbert, Francis Shore, David Dash, Carrie Gordon, Michael Shore. Following the tradition of a role performed by the past presidents of the congregation, I now formally install each of you as a trustee. You shall assume all responsibility to do all things necessary and proper for the management of the congregation and all its affairs. Congratulations and be said, mazel tov to everyone.
No, come up. Shabbat Shalom. It's my distinct honor and pleasure to be here with you tonight to thank Michael Shore, our still president for a few more minutes. Michael, it feels like just yesterday when I was thanking you for the first time. In my installation speech in 2017, I said to you, thank you for agreeing to be my executive vice president. I look forward to embarking on this journey with you. Well, we didn't realize then what a journey it would be. I want to start by now thanking you for the last time for being our president for the past 3 challenging years, which you led us through with dignity and strength. You and I experienced many firsts together. We were the first TBS duo where I was lucky enough to have you as my vice president, but also fortunate enough to be your vice president. During that time, they even revised our Constitution, giving us both longer terms to work together. We were also the first and hopefully last to lead during a pandemic when the world was changing each day and very quick and important decisions needed to be made. We navigated through 3 associate rabbis, the retirement of a 28-year rabbi, a new executive director, and several ECC directors. You bravely led us through a 3-year rabbi search. Thank you for keeping us safe and making security a top priority during a time when anti-Semitism was on the rise. You showed us that your wealth of knowledge in business and Yiddishkeit are unparalleled, and your barbecue and baking skills, not so bad either. I wouldn't want you to forget all the gifts that you have presented over the years to the B'nai Mitzvah students, so we put together a little bar mitzvah bag for you. A little goodbye bag for you. So from Temple Beth Sholom, a certificate, not to USY or the JCC, but to hang on your wall and to thank you for your years as president. You're going to love this one. Instead of a book, we have a tie tack as you join the ranks of the other amazing male presidents that have served before you. From the executive board, a special gift. They're not a tzedakah box or a kiddush cup or candlesticks, still something Judaica that we hope you will enjoy. And finally, the chocolate bar to remind you of the bittersweetness of today. This is not an end, but a beginning to a new chapter and more time with your beautiful family. And on the back are some facts and things about you. People may ask what you will do now with your free time. Don't worry, we will keep you quite busy. It is with great respect and admiration that I hand the title of Immediate Past President over to you. You get to chair the Fine Arts and Past Presidents Committee and sit on any other committees that you wish. We hope that you will still attend board and executive board meetings. We thank you in advance for your guidance with security, the land deal, and budgetary matters, amongst other things. As you see, we're not really letting you go. We will be calling on you for your sage advice and expertise for many years to come, and you'll always remember us with your president's name tag that you can still hold on to.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So I didn't really have long prepared remarks, which was a good thing because I forgot my glasses, so I can't see them anyway. No, I'm good, thank you. That was a joke. No, I really did forget my glasses. First of all, I just want to thank all of you for coming tonight and participating and being here with us. And really and truly, tonight is not about me. It's about the people who are assuming the mantle of leadership from here on. But I would be very remiss if I didn't first extend a few thank yous. First, of course, I'd like to thank the clergy that I've had the privilege to work with over the past 3 years, to Rabbi Lucas, to Rabbi Resnick, who has done an amazing job during the course of this year of leading us through this transitional period, to Rabbi Ben Gideon, who may very well be watching us on TV, I don't know, but looking forward to having you, and thank you for taking the job. Of course, thank you to Cantor Barnoy, to Rabbi Rosenthal, and to all of the clergy. Thank you to Eileen Borer, our executive director, to our office staff, to all of our maintenance staff, to Adrian and all of his crew, to Sharon Solomon, our director of education, Stephanie Whalen, the early childhood director, all of our teachers, and really to Becky and Dee Dee for all the hard work they did with the camp, and really all of the amazing professionals that we have here at Temple Beth Sholom. We really are very fortunate. I'd also, of course, like to thank the people on my executive board, some of whom are staying and some of whom are retiring. You heard their names, but I'm going to mention them again. To my executive vice president, Deborah Dubowski, to the VP of Finance, Louis Navioski, to my VP of Administration, Lou Bartel, Financial Secretary, Jared Friedman, Secretary, Len Bergman. But I really want to extend a thanks to 2 amazing women, one of whom was standing right here next to me. I'll get to her second. But the first one I wanted to recognize in particular is Carrie Gordon, along with Rebecca, Oh, and I forgot Alan Goldstein. He's not on the, for some reason, you're not on the outgoing officer, but this place would not run without Alan Goldstein, by the way. I apologize for missing you on the first time around. But anyway, I really want to say that literally every day for the last 3 years of my presidency, I spoke to Carrie and Rebecca multiple times a day. Carrie in particular has dealt with unbelievable challenges in the education area when COVID hit and through COVID with changes and regulations and all sorts of things. And she handled a lot of difficult situations with a great deal of grace, and the amount of time that she put in to make sure that our kids got the top-notch education at our ECC and at our Hebrew school is really amazing, and I just wanted to particularly recognize Carrie and to thank you. And thank you. And then, of course, there's Rebecca. I think I've said this before, so forgive me, but it's not lost on me that Rebecca's husband's name is also Michael. I can tell you that it's also not lost on my wife because she's often said that Rebecca is my temple wife, and that's pretty true. I think I've talked to Rebecca more than my wife over the last 6 to 9 years that we've been working very closely together. And when she came over tonight and said, I'm not letting you go, I said, well, I'll still be here. But really, Rebecca is the do-everything. She's the engine of Temple Beth Sholom. And I will miss the daily phone calls, but I expect at least a couple a week. And if I'm not getting them, I'll certainly be calling you, and thank you for everything. So my remarks. So Rabbi Resnick alluded to this week's Torah portion, which talks about the episode, if you will, of when the Israelites were approaching the promised land. God tells Moses to send ahead 12 scouts to see what's going on in the land of Israel. And these 12 scouts go ahead and they bring back a report. They actually come back after several days with gigantic fruits and things like that. And all 12 of them report that the land is in fact a land of milk and honey, and it's a wonderful place. 10 of them come back and say, well, except we don't think that we can enter the land. We don't think we can conquer the land. The cities are fortified. The people are like giants, and we're like grasshoppers next to those people. And then there are 2 other scouts, Caleb and Joshua, who come back with a very different report. And it's the difference in their reports that I want to focus on, and that I think give 2 messages to the new leadership that hopefully they can take forward as they take the reins of the synagogue. So the first thing is, what really was the sin of the spies? Or scouts, excuse me, Rabbi. What did they do wrong, right? Why were 10 of them called out as being sinners and 2 of them not? What did they do wrong? After all, they all told the truth. The land was a land of milk and honey, and there were fortified cities, and there were giants, if you will. And it would be a challenge to conquer the land. So what did they do wrong? What did the 10 do wrong? I read an interesting article about that that raises that issue. And what the author of the article suggests is that the sin was not looking, that the 10 spies didn't look at the problem they were facing with the proper perspective. And so the first thing that I would say to the new leadership is, you're going to face a lot of challenges in leading this congregation. But it all depends on your perspective and how you look at overcoming those problems. The 10 spies who gave the report of, we're not going to be able to conquer the land, looked at everything from a very negative perspective. They looked at the obstacles and said, we're like grasshoppers next to these people. There's no way that we can overcome. They didn't believe in themselves. They didn't believe in their abilities. And so but the 2 spies came back and said, yes, this will be a challenge, But if we have faith, and if we join together, we will be able to overcome our problems. So the first thing I would say to you as the new leadership is, when you face difficulty, you should know that you can overcome it. This synagogue has been around for more than 75 years, and it'll continue to be around for 75 and 100 more. You don't have to worry about that. You have the support of the congregation. You have the support of the community. Go forward and do the right thing. And if you do that with confidence, you will be able to lead this place effectively. And I think the second thing is related to that, which is this. I'm actually very pleased to see that a lot of our new young board members are here with their kids, and I had the pleasure of meeting some of you last night, and when you participated in your first board meeting last evening. You know, when you get into the board and you get into the back and forth and everything, it can seem kind of intimidating, right? There's going to be 40 other people in the room. They're all going to have their various opinions and whatever. If the Israelites had listened to the 10 spies, the Jewish people never would have gone into the land of Israel. There were 2 of the spies, or scouts, as Rabbi said, Caleb and Joshua, who were not afraid to stand up against the 10 and say, no, they're wrong, right? They're wrong. We can overcome, we can do, and we can succeed. And what I would say to all of you who are coming into the leadership, whether you've been there, whether you're new, whether whatever is, you all have a voice. Use it. Sitting in a board meeting or sitting in an executive committee meeting or sitting wherever and not participating or being scared to be heard is the worst thing that you can do. Speak up. Speak up. And I think if you do those 2 things, your leadership of the synagogue going forward will be effective, and you'll lead us forward into the next stage and the next phase of life at TBS. So with that, I just want to say again, thank you to you all. I want to wish the new leadership the best of luck, and just know that, as Rebecca said, I am a phone call away. You all know my cell phone number, and if you ever need anything or any assistance, I will be here. So thank you all very much, and best of luck.
Shabbat Shalom, Rabbi Resnick, Cantor Barnoy, congregants, family. As a long ago past president, I have the honor of installing both the new officers, the executive vice president and the president. So I'm going to ask the officers to please join me up here on the bima. In consideration of time, I'm going to only read the bios of the new incoming officers. Jess Strapkin, Secretary. Jess Strapkin and his wife Eva have been members of TBS since they moved to East Hills in 1987. Seems like another decade ago. Jess is a member of the Board of Trustees and was on the recent Rabbinic Search Committee. Jess and Eva are proud parents of Michael, Hillary, and Brooke, and proud grandparents of baby David. Michael and his wife Victoria recently moved to East Hills, lucky for you, with David being born shortly thereafter. Michael is a graduate of North Shore Hebrew High School, and Hillary and Brooke both graduated from TBS. Brooke also attended Solomon Schechter for several years. Jewish education and culture have always been at the center of their family's life, and they honor the memory of Eva's parents, David and Gina Garfinkel, both survivors of the Shoah, by carrying these values forward. Jess is a partner at Reed Smith LLP, specializing in mergers and acquisitions, joint ventures, and licensing in the entertainment, media, and technology industry. He is a graduate of Harvard Law and Columbia College. Over the years, Jess has been active in the community, having served as a member of the Board of Directors, of Sid Jacobson JCC, and chairman of the East Hills Architectural Review Board. He is also a former executive committee member and former member of the Board of Directors, Columbia College Alumni Association. Jared Wasserman. Jared and Jocelyn joined TBS 14 years ago with their 2 sons when they moved to Roslyn. Their 3rd son, Jordan, was born in 2012 and had his bris at TBS. Our 2 older sons, Justin and Jason, have had their bar mitzvahs at TBS, and all 3 boys still attend and are involved in the religious school. TBS is an important part of their lives. Their family regularly attends Minyan and Shabbat services, and Jocelyn is involved as a co-chair of Club TBS and our Inclusion Initiative. Jared is looking forward to joining the executive board and continuing to make Beth Sholom a vibrant conservative shul for our community. Alan Goldstein. I know. Come on up. Alan deserves a hand. Alan has been a treasurer since I was president. It's been a long time. Len Bergman, also a returning officer, VP for Administration. Ellen Walk. Ellen is returning as an officer as VP for Community Engagement. In 1988, when Ellen first came through the doors of TBS to look for a nursery school for her daughter Melissa, she had no idea that she had found much more than that. A few years later, she came to Shabbat services for the first time, and when she got home, her husband Paul asked how it went. She said, "Pretty good, and by the way, I'm going for the rest of my life." Ellen's passions at TBS have always been membership and engagement, and making sure that as a shul, we do our best welcoming everyone who comes through our doors. She believes that greeting with a smile, schmoozing, and whenever possible, taking a minute for a quick round of Jewish geography, I know you all know how to play, help to build immediate connections and develop relationships across the generations. Whether it's in Minyan, the parking lot, or a sukkah hop, there is a never-ending stream of people to engage, get to know, and grow to love. But what gives Ellen the most nachas at TBS is seeing her grandchildren, Haley, Dylan, and Mikey, feel at home at shul. Jared Friedman. Jared isn't able to come this evening, but also is a returning officer. And Sandy Berger, who you are all well familiar with, was also unable to come, but is returning as Vice President for Religious Affairs. Talia Liederman. Talia is going to become the VP of Education. Talia and her family have been involved at TBS for close to 10 years, beginning when her children, Nava and Jacob, attended the ECC. Talia became more involved when they began attending religious school. She shares that she is deeply appreciative of the school's approach, support, and commitment to education, and joined the Board of Ed about 5 years ago. Talia and her husband Lloyd have met many warm and wonderful people at TBS, and she's feeling honored to become a member of the executive board and follow and Carrie's footsteps. Mazel tov to everyone, and you are welcome to sit down. Thank you all. You're welcome. So now I'm pleased to have the chance to install Rebecca Altman. So, Rebecca, as the new, returning Executive Vice President, Rebecca brings her incredible energy and commitment as she resumes the EVP position. We all owe her a great debt, and a special thank you to her family for signing off on her taking this position again. Rebecca grew up attending Beth Sholom. She has experienced many life cycle events here, including her bat mitzvah and her wedding, and the bris, baby naming, and bar and bat mitzvahs of her children. She graduated from Washington University with a major in education and minors in business and Jewish and Near Eastern studies. And after receiving a master's in education from Columbia University Teachers College, she went on to teach in the New York City public school system for nearly 12 years. She and her husband Michael have 2 children, Ryan and Rachel, who both attended TBS from the ECC through high school. Since leaving her teaching position to care for her children, she has taken on many volunteer positions. She is a past president of the Achot chapter of Hadassah, served on the East Hills Parks Rules Committee. She was president of the PFA at Harbor Hill, Roslyn Middle School, Roslyn High School, and is currently the CCPA president. Her leadership positions at TBS began when she and a friend revitalized the ECC Parent Association. And since then, she has served on almost every committee and many executive board positions, as you all know, including president. It is our good fortune that she has agreed to return again and to work with Debbie. Mazel tov. And finally, I have the honor of installing Dr. Debbie Newman-Dubowski. Come on up. Debbie becomes the 7th female president of TBS. Many women have led the way, and she will be ably assisted by Rebecca, the 6th female president. Debbie Dubowski originally hails from Lexington, Massachusetts, where she grew up in a conservative Jewish household with her brother David. She graduated from Colby College in Waterville, Maine, and then earned a medical degree from New York Medical College in Valhalla. After completing medical school, she did her residency in internal medicine at Boston City Hospital. Her fellowship in cardiology was at the Leahy Clinic, after which she joined a group as a cardiology specialist. At a conference in Orlando, Florida, she met the love of her life, Jay Dubowski, and their journey together began. Professionally, she is a senior cardiologist at the Mount Sinai Long Island Doctors Group in Greenlawn with privileges at Huntington Hospital. Jay is also a practicing cardiologist with the Mount Sinai Group in Manhasset. Jay and Debbie moved to Roslyn after marriage. They joined TBS and became active when their children, Evan and Sean, entered the ECC preschool program. Jay has also been a scout leader of our own Roslyn troop, and I'm sure some of you have come across them running around in their uniforms over the years. Debbie has also been the co-chair of the PTA, then the PTA of the religious school, a member of the Board of Trustees, and ultimately a member of the executive board. Sean and Evan are continuing their Jewish studies in the Machon program and will be entering junior year at Roslyn High School in the fall. This summer, with their fellow campers from Camp Mecha, they are traveling to Poland and then to Israel. Debbie is excited to lead the congregation as the new president and into our synagogue's next chapter as we welcome Rabbi Ben Gideon as the 4th senior rabbi. Following the tradition of the roles performed by past presidents of the congregation, I now formally install you as the president of TBS. You shall assume to do all things necessary and proper for the management of the congregation. Yasher Koach, as you begin your term.
Shabbat Sholom. Thank you for coming tonight to celebrate those who have volunteered their time and their energy to our beloved TBS community. Welcome to the new members of the Board of Trustees. This job is a labor of love which you will never regret. Becoming involved in this capacity will connect you to our community in a way that you have never been before. Not only will you know the ins and outs of the organization, but you'll be able to make meaningful contributions as we move into our new future. To those finishing their term, I hope that this will not be goodbye, but lahitraot, see you soon. You've helped us move through difficult times as we overcame the COVID pandemic, said goodbye to Rabbi Lucas, and we are now saying hello to Rabbi Ben Gideon, and thank you to Rabbi Resnick. I hope you will remain active in our community. There are a few people that I'd like to personally single out today, not only for their contributions to our community at large, but for their contributions to my own personal growth and development. First, thank you to Louis Bartel. You've donated so much time and expertise to the house and administration of this synagogue. You've been available to take on tough projects. I don't think the word no is part of your vocabulary. I appreciate your counsel, and I'm happy that you're staying on as an ex officio board member. Carrie Gordon, thank you for chairing the Education Committee for so many years. You've been a steady force during COVID and during multiple staffing changes in the ECC. I want to thank you for helping lead the transition committee for our new rabbi and for joining the Board of Trustees. Your commitment to our organization knows no boundaries. Rebecca Altman, my friend and mentor. When my boys were students in the ECC, we first became friendly, and our relationship has grown stronger through the years. I'm lucky that you've agreed to stay on as Executive VP this year, because there's no one who knows more about TBS than Rebecca. You are TBS. When I have a difficult decision to make, I often ask myself, what would Rebecca do? She always knows what the right thing and the moral thing is to do. But lastly, I want to thank Michael Shore. We first met when our boys were 2 years old, and look at us now. Your leadership over the years has taught me so much. You have amazing business acumen. You can make tough decisions. You're a gifted writer and speaker. I love listening to you chant Torah, and you've inspired me to learn more. Mainly, you're a great human being who keeps TBS in his heart at all times. I'm so glad that you'll continue on as a Board of Trustee member, and you'll be there to guide me on my journey. So I'm fortunate to have my brother David and my sister-in-law Holly here tonight. They come from Cleveland, Ohio. David and I grew up in Lexington, Massachusetts, at Temple Emunah, an active conservative synagogue. Our parents were strong and active supporters of the temple. They taught us how important being a member of a Jewish community was to a family. So one of the first things that Jay and I did when we moved to Roslyn was look for a synagogue. We went temple shopping. We found TBS to be warm, inviting, and it exemplified values that were important to us. Moving forward, we were moved by the synagogue's response during Hurricane Sandy, when we lost power and we spent hours in the building. There was food, warmth, friendship, and outlets to charge our devices. When we unfortunately had death in our family, we were overwhelmed by the love that the temple sent our way. There was minyan every night, food for Shabbat, and a sense of community that we had never experienced before. So, when I got the call asking me to become more involved, I didn't hesitate to say yes. Of course, it was a decision that my family made with me. It required sacrifices on the part of my husband and my boys, because I would be out many evenings, and Jay would have to pick up the slack. So, thank you to my family for allowing me to take on this challenge. I believe in TBS and its mission. I think this is a special community that offers something for everyone. There's a robust religious program, a stellar educational program for young and old alike, and social opportunities for all. There's something for everyone, and it's my goal to make it a place where each one of us can be inspired and can grow. We have many challenges ahead, but if we work together, we can face them and achieve our goal to be a place of safety and warmth for all in our sacred Jewish community. At Temple Beth Sholom, you matter. Thank you.
Well, the first few minutes of Debbie's tenure, she's still smiling, so that's a good sign. Yigdal, page 53.
יגדל אלוהים חי וישתבח, נמצא ואין עדל מציאותו, אחד ואין יחיד כייחודו, נעלם וגם אסוף לעבדותו, אין לו דמות הגוף ואינו גוף, לא נערוך אליו קדושתו, כרמול לכל דבר אשר נברא, ראשון בראשית לראשיתו, הינו אדון עולם וכל נוצר, יורה גדולתו מלכותו, שפע נבואתו נתנו אל אנשי סגולתו ותפארתו, לא קם בישראל כמשה, אור נביא ומביט את תמונתו, תורת אמנתה לימו, אל על יד נביאו נאמן ביתו, לא יכל יפעל ולא ימידתו לעולמים, לזולתו צופה ויודע סתרנו, מביט לסוף דבר בכרמתו, קומל לאיש חסד כמפעלו, נותן לרשע רע כרישתו, ישלח לקץ הימים משיחנו, לפדות מחקקת ישועתו, מתים יחייל ברוב חסדו, ברוך הדיין שם תהילתו, מתים יחייל ברוב חסדו, ברוך הדיין שם תהילתו. שבת שלום, שבת שלום, שבת 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 שלום, שבת שלום, שבת שלום, שבת 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 שלום.